Man, I love Pikmin 3. This is just a superb little joy of a game, but unfortunately, this joy comes with a big asterisk. The Wii U. Who the frick owns a Wii U? This console was a commercial failure, but after looking at super solid lineup of titles, well, we can't let all that hard work go to waste. Where the frick are the 3D Zeldas? And while some of these Switch ports introduce some really stupid changes, many of them are the definitive versions of their respective games. Like, you're telling me I could finally play an actual battle mode as King Boo and all I had to do was give up my giant horn button? Terrible trade, change it back. But out of every port we got on the Switch, the single most different has to be Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Because despite seeming like the same game on paper, when compared to the original on Wii U, Deluxe can feel completely alien in a lot of places. And I want to talk about that, because I personally believe Pikmin 3 was better on Wii U. Not that Deluxe is bad, there's changes they made that can absolutely push this game well above the original, but at least to me, it's hard to not feel like something was lost in translation. For example, they halved enemy health. Why the frick they do that? Pikmin 3 Deluxe introduced difficulty options to the game, but for some reason made the original difficulty hard. Which is not how anyone would describe Pikmin 3, but now on the new normal difficulty, days are 5 minutes longer, enemy health is halved, and Pikmin take 11 seconds to drown. Now, an easy difficulty existing doesn't make the game worse, that'd be silly to say. Except for whatever reason, by making it the default difficulty, not only does the game lie to you on how it's meant to be played, but it also changes mission mode and bingo battle. The best parts of Pikmin 3. While strong enemies used to take preparation to overcome, you can now quickly defeat anything with whatever you happen to have on hand. And considering that half of mission mode is battle enemies, the mode where you battle enemies, yeah, this kind of breaks some things. Just grab the starting pellets and your army is set. Unless you're given rock Pikmin. Then you're set from the get-go. Since rocks deal impact damage, they can quickly take down flying and low health foes, but struggle when it comes to sustained beatdowns, which contrasts nicely with red Pikmin. But thanks to this not so deluxe change, now it's a challenge to find an enemy not comfortably within rock killing range. They've taken genuinely great side grade balancing and decided on a clear winner, leaving my red lads only with their basicness and the ability to passively kill fiery blowhogs. And wall destruction. I don't think they nerfed wall health at all. Okay, editing update on that one. I can't confirm normal difficulty doesn't nerf wall health at all, so reds destroy it just as fast as before. But due to a completely unrelated change, rocks went from destroying dirt walls half as effectively as reds to twice as effectively as reds. What the frick? Now, to be fair, this game has some crazy stuff in it, so having enemy health isn't as detrimental as it sounds. I mean, collect treasure, the better of the two mission modes, often features little to no combat at all. Plus, since these levels are meant to be optimized, not just beaten, having weaker enemies actually opens up new routes that were never possible on Wii U. The issue is, these levels are kind of designed around the fact you needed to prepare for them, but now, while still technically optimal, combat-related decisions have far less of an impact than they're supposed to. That's not as fun. It makes this deluxe mission mode feel like a light mission mode, where a majority of stages are stuck in a state they weren't designed for. All because of what feels like an unintended consequence and an incredibly stupid naming decision. And with Deluxe likely being the version we're getting well into the future, and the Wii U's eShop being taken out to the back, unless you already owned all the DLC, there's no way to play the original versions of half these stages anymore. You know, legally. But even if the modes remain in their original state, the game still wouldn't be the same. Deluxe had to fight an uphill battle from the moment it was conceived of, and that's because Pikmin 3 is a Wii U game. And unlike other Wii U games, Pikmin 3 was actually a Wii U game. The fact every other game with a Switch port barely made use of the Wii U's Gamepad was a blessing in disguise. because that meant porting them to future consoles would only require shoving the map into another menu. But the same isn't true for Pikmin 3. Not that its map couldn't also be on a separate menu, they do exactly that, but because this game was designed for the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. A control scheme so good, they slapped it into the first two games. By disconnecting your aim from your movement, all you have to do to interact with something is point at it. You never have to worry about making the controls do what you want, they just do. How do you even begin to replicate this on the Switch? Oh, you know what? Fair enough. The Joy-Cons are an excellent alternative to the Wii Remote, and I know people actually prefer them instead. But the differences between these two control schemes still exist, and it's all due to one subtle detail. When it comes to moving the cursor, the Wii Remote uses pointer controls, while the Joy-Cons use gyro, aka tilt controls. Gyro comes with a neat addition of not requiring a direct sightline to the TV, which has often screwed me up on the Wii. But with how much you're waggling that stick around, the cursor is very prone to getting desynced. So to assist with this, they've dedicated the right bumper to smack that thing back to the middle of the screen. Which is cool and all, but I'm really slightly annoyed by the fact they decided on the button that in every other Pikmin game on this console, including other deluxe control schemes, is exclusively used to change your selected Pikmin type. I know this was the first Pikmin game on the console and everything, but this screws me up constantly. On top of that, it's a lot harder to be precise with gyro. Like with the Wii Remote, pointing at the screen will always point at the same spot. It's perfectly consistent. But since Joy-Cons can be oriented in any conceivable way, proper aiming is more about judging how far you should rotate your controller, kind of like using a mouse. Mix in the zoomed out camera, and you're never gonna hit that swooping snitch bug. So to make up for this, they've overhauled the frick out of lock-on. What used to be a way to lock your camera onto a target now allows you to lock your cursor onto a target, which I actually really like. Sure, it reduces the actual skill requirement aiming had, but Pikmin 3's gameplay priorities have always been about your long-term decision making rather than moment-to-moment execution. I mean, it features enemies like the Bulborb, a bulbous orb. You're not supposed to miss this thing. So by giving the less precise controls some wiggle room, you're able to focus more on making the right choices. Even allows the joystick controls to not be the worst thing ever. Looking at you, Gamepad. The original Pikmin 3 stick controls are clunky, slippery, and bad. You have to spend way too much effort to accomplish even the simplest task. I don't like them. At least they gave this thing touchscreen options in a later update, which do work a lot better. Unless you're left-handed. I can't use the whistle. But it's clear that Pikmin 3 was meant for the Wii Remote above everything else. And even though Deluxe controls perfectly fine, this sentiment holds true. The deeper you go, the more cracks start to show. Not that they're particularly large cracks, this game controls far better than Pikmin 4, I wish it just copied these, but they're cracks that weren't present on Wii U. With gyro, performing an action requires even the smallest bit more thought on how to make the controls do what you need. While the Wii Remote never needed to make up for imprecise controls because its controls were never imprecise. So when given the option, I'm always sticking with the tried and true, even if it forces me to use the funny gamepad. It's the only way to access Go here, and trust me, you do not want to ignore Go here. But while it's easy to treat this thing as a punching bag, its implementation in Pikmin 3 has never bothered me that much. I have no quarrel briefly performing a clean lean. Plus, while I'm using the map down here, my TV becomes freaking awesome! I can actually see things with this! Deluxe only gives you the radar map. Good luck! While you're slowly scrolling to the place you want to go, I'm gonna watch my very own show. It's nice to sit back and relax after finishing an intense session of Pikmin 3. I'm sure everyone does this, not just me. But watching everything going from above, no matter where it is, it's just so satisfying. But now we can't. Losing this isn't the most important change in the game. But we definitely lost something. And that's kind of how I feel about Deluxe as a whole. Despite its quality, there's a lot of little things that add up. Pikmin are now fast enough to run up walls, Rock Pikmin deal the same damage to crystals whether or not they're thrown, and the whistle's so big it takes up the entire screen. And even outside of gameplay differences, we have stuff like much busier loading screens, or characters speaking directly to you for tutorials. While changes like these are minor, they have an undeniable impact on the overall atmosphere of Pikmin 3. It's a weird thing, but it's part of why I prefer the original. But I also want to recognize that they're really freaking minor, and you can absolutely get over them and still have a great time. Pikmin 3 Deluxe is still Pikmin 3, and even if some aspects are made a little worse, who am I to complain when it comes with new content? And new content can only positively impact the game, right? Well, I don't know. I think it's fair to critique a difficulty that doesn't make a single thing difficult. Ultra Spicy Mode. For being intended for quote-unquote Pikmin connoisseurs, this thing's a letdown. It's practically the same as hard, which should be normal. Right off the bat, no. Ultra Spicy does not increase enemy health. Every creature I've tested has had the same exact HP as they do on hard, so Pikmin 4 Fierce difficulty, this ain't. No. The real first notable change this mode makes is reducing your Pikmin fuel cap from 100 to 60. Now, this prevents my Pikmin from singing their funny little song. So that's already strike number 1. But strike number 2, this doesn't make anything more difficult, it just makes things take longer. Which I don't think is inherently bad. Like, yeah, it's a really boring restriction, but now if you want to keep up a good day pace, you need to make the most of each individual Pikmin. Combine this with the other notable change of reducing how much juice you get from fruits, which consequently halves the game-wide time limit, and we have the basis of an amazing hard mode. Maybe not really a hard mode for experienced players, you know, connoisseurs, but a hard mode that forces you to reach connoisseur level in the first place. You gotta beat the game with a stricter time limit using limited resources. Unfortunately, the limit was only brought down to 50 days. 50. We're stopping there? On initial thought, that should have been the cap in the first place. Most people finish Pikmin 3 in the 20 to 40 day range, so having a time limit of 50 could at least make the game close. But also, that would just completely exclude people who don't do it fast enough. This isn't failing a 7-minute mission mode stage, this is losing the entire game. So a 100-day time limit, that makes sense. Its mere existence can still motivate people to try playing efficiently. This is ultra spicy! You can't even play this mode unless you've already beaten the game! Why stop at 50? Bring it down to 30 or 20! That could actually be difficult for newer players! It's hard mode! Why are they afraid to make it hard? Could have been a phenomenal challenge with that one simple change, but unfortunately, we're left with a difficulty that doesn't even bother to fill the final juice bottle all the way. Fun. Well, at least we got the side stories, which is new content that's actually new content. I just wish it didn't present itself as a stupid mobile game ad that won't leave me alone. I'm just trying to play story mode. Now, there's a lot I could say about this thing's plot. Like how it turns a 7-year-old cliffhanger into a really unsatisfying cop-out that retcons the original ending of the game. But after Pikmin 4 stepped in and did its thing with the story, the side stories are more mission mode, and God, I love mission mode. Even if a lot of these stories aren't the greatest, often featuring unnecessarily slow starts, there's some real gems in this batch. I just wish more of them were. Like, of the 14 new stages, 9 are just more collect treasure and battle enemies. Now, don't get me wrong, that's the good stuff. But the Pikmin reunion level introduces a new goal: grow 100 Pikmin. That's awesome! Raising Pikmin isn't viable a lot of the time, especially in Deluxe, so a series of levels focused entirely around it has so much potential. And I'm happy to say it got its own side mode in Pikmin 1. With Deluxe, this is the only stage like it. I kinda wish we got 14 more of these instead of Big Fruit Carnival. But hey, At least they added another super cool goal about bringing a ship part to the finish as fast as you can. This also could have been its own series of mission mode stages. There's only 2! I mean, there's technically 3, but the third one is more of a for fun bonus final boss thing. The level itself is kinda boring, but I respect it for having the cool, it gets a pass. I just think it's really funny how it's like, ooh, you gotta prepare your army for the elemental enemies ahead, and it shows like 4 dudes in the tiny arena, like what was their plan here? Also, what are these stage names? Where's the love? The whimsy? Creature hunting? Flower garden? We're dealing with a guy who gave a forest a belly button. You know what else we can call a flower garden? How about a blossoming Arcadia? That's a good one. Oh, and Team Monster Hunt? What kind of name is that? What, do these devs work on Monster Hunter or something? Oh, you know what? They can have this one. And fun fact, that's not the only Monster Hunter reference in this game. Look, if we hop into the achievements, we can see they've also made Monster Hunter-esque icons for all the game's bosses. That's cool. I really like that. Why does Pikmin 3 Deluxe have achievements? Now, I'm of the opinion that achievements are really important. Not that every game needs them, but the ones that do should use them to make the game better. Because even if they're easily ignorable and usually only exist for completionists, achievements are part of the game. They're meant to be obtained, and when used correctly, they can make the best experiences even better. But put them in haphazardly, and even great games become slow, tedious messes the second after you start looking for every last 2D image floating in the sky. Psychonauts 1, what the frick were you on? Pikmin 3 doesn't really keep track of completion, but that allows 100% to mean whatever you want it to mean. It could only be grabbing every fruit in the story, or maybe involves collecting every last data file. You weirdo. Personally, I've always viewed completion as collecting every fruit, and then getting platinum on every mission mode level. And even then, I don't count the co-op medals, because those require a second Wii remote, and a second nunchuck, and a friend who likes Pikmin. In this economy? But with Deluxe introducing achievements, the game now literally tells you what 100% means. And it means getting a platinum in 10 mission mode stages. Not all 36 for 100%. No, that'd be crazy. 100% completion is obviously about finding every data file, having friends, punching an enemy to death. Okay, I can get behind that one. And taking a picture of every single secret mural in the game. That last one hurts. The secret murals were a super cool Easter egg hidden throughout Pikmin 3, placed in obtuse locations to reward you for pulling out your awesome Gamepad camera in weird spots. And that's all these really were, a super small, charming thing you could find. Most everyone goes their entire playthrough without knowing these existed, and that's awesome! I think it's great when games can just put secrets in without feeling the need to guide someone for fear that they might miss out on content. The secrecy is what makes them special. But unfortunately, by now making the murals required for completion, a lot of their magic is gone. Even Olimar tells you about them. And since they're technically now required, their intentionally stupid placements can be put under genuine scrutiny. It's already a challenge to find 1 or 2, but good luck finding all 15 of them without a guide. And yeah, if you look it up, it doesn't take that long. But that means turning Pikmin 3 from an individually cohesive package into something that practically requires external resources to complete. Lets you wander around aimlessly for hours. It took a game designed for completion and undid its design. You know, again. I often hear people say new content is always a good thing, but context really matters. In the case of Pikmin 3 Deluxe, the new content we got is either pretty fun but could have been so much better, adds nearly nothing even for those who wanted it, or is a genuine detriment to the overall experience. Mix in the slightly weaker controls and the lesser mission mode, and when I have the option, I stick to the Wii U. Which is unfortunate, because once again, who the frick owns a Wii U? No one should go out of the way to get one of these things just to play the original Pikmin 3. They should do it to play Nintendo Land. But jokes aside, even if the new stuff isn't really up to snuff, I'd be lying if I didn't say Deluxe was a great port, because I have not even begun to mention the myriad of positive changes they made to this game. To the point where if someone were to tell me they prefer this version over the original, that makes complete sense. Because positive change numero uno, co-op story mode. They added co-op to the story. Holy frick. And when combined with the co-op in the side modes, you can play the entire game start to completion with a friend. That alone is a deal maker. It makes it hurt all the more when Pikmin 4 steps in and regresses in this aspect, featuring no co-op at all. Well, co-op anyone cares about. Just let me Dandori with my friends that I don't have. It's cool in theory. But not only do we get more co-op, we also get the return of the Piklopedia. This thing has notes on every enemy from every character. The Plasm Wraith smells like citrus. This thing's a citrus lump. Pikmin AI and controls have been given an overhaul, so we get cool changes with character swapping, charging, dismissing, and more. Like when you whistle a working Pikmin, they'll wait for confirmation before joining your squad. This can make it annoying to call Pikmin at times, but after being reminded of how often a working Pikmin will dive headfirst into the idle horde I've left at base, knowing accidentally calling a single one of them will ruin everything? Yeah, I like this change. They added multiple save files. Loading times are non-existent. Filling a mission mode stage gives you an option to continue playing. The new music they added for said mode and the side stories is kinda banger. They added a bunch of new textures to stuff like destructible walls. Data files no longer force you to pause the game on harder difficulties. The secret Olimar movies are repurposed in a cool way for the side stories, and their files are replaced with entirely new dialogue. And most importantly, probably the single best change in the game, speeding up fruit juicing no longer lags. Perfection. There's a lot to love here, and as much as I prefer the original, I'm not at all opposed to hopping into Deluxe instead just for the convenience of not needing to plug in my Wii U. I just find the differences between the two versions interesting. I want to give my thoughts on how they impact the game. But there's still a ton more that can be said on this topic, so I'm curious what you all think. If you've played both versions of the game, do you have a strong preference over one or the other, or does it not freaking matter? Whatever the case, I'm just glad Deluxe offers a controller to play this game with that will actually stand the test of time. And even if it comes with some new clunkiness, well, it's what it's. Now if you excuse me, my Wii U's actually plugged in now, so I'm gonna go have some fun.